Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the J Moore Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Well, hey guys, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It's great to be with you on the J Moore Tech Talk Show. Today, guys, is Friday. It's September 26th, 2025, and it is a privilege and pleasure to be with you this wonderful evening. And of course, you know I have a great show for you here today. And I want to let you know that tech world is really changing. And this is your first time being here, well, I want to say welcome to you. If you're coming back, whether it's third, fourth, fifth, or 100th, or even more, I want to say welcome back. Thank you so much for being here on the J Moore Tech Talk Show. We have an amazing show this evening to share with you guys. If you miss any parts of it, or you want to catch another show, or this show, or my long-form content, or other short-form content, or my articles, just go to believemeachieve.com for more of my, of course, amazing, inspiring creations, which you can do 24 hours a day by visiting believemeachieve.com after the show is over. And if you're thirsty, guys, feel free to go get yourself some RO water from wherever. Maybe you want to get another beverage, a snack, fruit, candy, nuts, whether that's sweet or tart, healthy or not. That's totally up to you guys. And really do want to share some great stuff with you. So get that information that you need whenever you can after the show. Get that sweet or that treat or that drink. Get comfortable and hurry on back, because you know what, guys? We are going to start the J Moore Tech Talk Show. Yes, we are. All right, guys. So again, I just want to let you know that this is the place to be. If you want a front row seat to the stories shaking up the tech world on the latest J Moore Tech Talk Show, we're going to reveal it. And I'm bringing you the must-hear headlines and expert insights you need, all by myself, John C. Morley, the host, serial entrepreneur, engineer, marketing specialist, video producer, keynote speaker, of course, podcast host and coach, graduate student, and a passionate lifelong learner. And it is a privilege to be with you. From the global crises we hit to gadget breakthroughs, this episode delivers tech news with depth, clarity, and relentless curiosity. You can listen 24 hours a day by visiting believemeachieve.com for exclusive extras that are not on the show, like my short-form content, long-form content, etc. And, you know, it's all about controversy, right? Innovation, digital, and drama. But really, it's about the code red outages that have been happening all over. Yes, that's what's going on, guys. Code red outages, just crackdowns, and next-gen tech Unleashed Series 4, Show 39, guys. Yes, yes, yes. This is the weekly tech wake-up call for all of you out there. Tech talks, all innovation, cybersecurity, future tech, tech news, and new iPhone, smart homes, AI trends, podcast life, tech updates, and you know, guys, a lot more. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into this week's hot topics. Are you ready? I know I am. Well, Optus emergency outage was a big tragedy, and it strikes Australia. Optus faces a leadership crisis after a 13-hour emergency call outage, resulting in 4 tragic deaths. Ouch, guys. Customers warnings were ignored, and the event triggers a full government probe and exposes some major weaknesses in telecom safety. We don't realize how much we need technology and how much we need communication until it's not there. Number two, guys, China's social platforms are hit by regulators. Kayashu and Weibo are under fire right now. China's internet watchdog demands stricter content controls as viral gossip slips through trending lists. Are the tough new rules now that the norm for digital platforms becoming too difficult, or are they just kind of sidescaping some things? Well, I think a lot of people are trying to not, follow these rules, but if they don't, the European Union is obviously going to come after them with some big, big problems. And it's important that you understand all these things, guys. Really, really important. And number three, Trump's $100,000 H-1B fee Roils, the tech, as a new $100,000 annual visa fee blindsides the Indian tech workers. And it's heightening diplomatic tension and risking family separations, is what they're claiming. The tech giants are urging workers to stay put amid the threats to global talent mobility. And I think, when we hit people in their pocketbooks, this is when they start to realize that, hey, we better do something like now. And if we don't, well, then that's a very, very big, big problem. Number four, guys, Apple Watch. Yes, AI spots high AI blood pressure now with their new watch that has FDA approval. Apple's groundbreaking watch uses AI, artificial intelligence, to detect high blood pressure before symptoms appear. With FDA approval now on the way and worldwide rollout, this is going to be big, guys. It's a major leap for personal health tech, but not a substitute for medical care. Now, guys, what I want to share with you is Tim Cook said something a while back that he wanted Apple to become that portal for your personal health and well-being. Well, this is where they're going, right? Number five, and the Trump XI call revives the TikTok's U.S. sale. The USCN high-level talks are now on between Trump and XI and pushing TikTok's U.S. sale closer. But questions are still looming over the algorithm and who has control, and national security is still over our heads as both sides are hunting for a win. It just seems like it's a lot of, mumbo jumbo, and I don't really believe what's going on until I see a sale. I just think diplomatic relations, including our president and the administrative offices, are placating this. Why? I don't know. But I think we've really got to get smart and focus in on what we need and stop playing these games. That's the truth, guys. We've got to stop playing these games, because if we keep playing these games, we're going to put America's safety and well-being at risk. Number six, guys, huge lines for the iPhone 17 launch in China. Beijing, as buzzes around with crowds scramble for Apple's redesigned iPhone with the 17 better battery and a sleeker style, predicted to boost sales despite fierce Xiaomi and Huawei competition. I have the iPhone 17 Pro Max right here, guys. We'll go into it a little bit. That's not what today's show is about. We'll probably do that on another show, but I want to show you that I have my phone here. I did have to go get another case. So Defender makes one case for this phone, and then they make a Pro case. If you don't get the Pro case, well, if you guys can see, you actually don't have that little MagSafe in the center. And so one thing that was, let's say, a ray of sunshine is that this particular device with this new case actually fit in my old holster. So that was pretty cool, right? I didn't expect that to happen. So that was really a cool thing. And the way that, Defender does it now, the OtterBox, Defender, they give you a QR code. You scan that, put your information in, and then they send out basically the belt clip if you need it, because they save lots of money by not including those in the box, apparently. All right. So number 7, guys, Lyft. You remember Lyft? Lyft pays $19.4 million for New Jersey driver misclassifications. So Lyft does settle with the New Jersey area after the misclassification. Over 100,000 contractors. Let me say that again. 100,000 contractors misclassified. This $19.4 million payout spotlights national scrutiny surrounding gig worker rights and the new labor precedents that are upon us. It's funny how nobody wanted to do anything for the longest period of time, and then boop, all of a sudden they're deciding to do something. Like, what's the deal with that, guys? Like, what the heck, right? So, I don't know, guys. I think it was just a push of, what was going to win more. And, when something goes to court, well, that's when people seem to pay attention. It's like when we hit them where their pocketbooks are, their wallets are, that's when people pay attention. Whether we were talking about Meta, whether we were talking about TikTok or whoever. But this thing with TikTok right now is very strange with what's going on. We'll have to see what's going to happen. I have some more news later in the show, so stay tuned on that. Number 8, Meta unveils the $799 smart glasses that they have. Now, Meta's game-changing. They claim smart glasses offer notifications, calls, and a personal super intelligence display controlled by, well, a wristband. High cost and child safety. Risks tests in consumer adoption now. Is this the future of wearables? I don't know, guys. But the thing I got to tell you about the Ray-Ban Metas that I paid some interesting change for, I was deeply disappointed. Let me tell you why. So I went to the Ray-Ban store, which I've owned Ray-Ban glasses for many years, but I decided to go get the Ray-Ban Metas, the ones which I spent the extra money so that the glasses, actually change from clear inside to dark outside. And I was talking to the lady there in the store, and she flat out lied to me when I said to her, does this work on TikTok? And, oh, it works on all platforms. She lied to me. The only way it works on TikTok is if you basically record a video and upload it, but it doesn't directly work on TikTok. So I was a little unhappy with that. And based on the lies that I'm seeing, I don't know, guys, if I want to get the new Meta Ray-Ban glasses. Why? I don't know, guys. So this is what they call basically Gen 2 of the glasses. And these glasses are supposedly better. Okay. The Ray-Ban Meta headliners right now, the Gen 2s. Are you ready? The Gen 2s are listing at basically, well, they've gone up there, guys, a little bit. Okay. So the Ray-Ban Metas now were at one price. Okay. Then they changed. So it says the Ray-Ban Metas, the Ray-Ban Metas, the Skyliner Gen 2s are $379. So, the thing is this. These new that was the generation 2, right? That was the generation. So it says you can shop the AI glass and you can get them, but you actually have to pre-order them. They're not out yet. So they do appear to be obviously different, but those are not the full Ray-Ban display glasses. If you want the Ray-Ban display glasses, are you ready for this? This is going to set you back a little bit. You're going to pay, you ready? $799. And everybody's saying, be one of the first to experience the next revolution in wearable tech. 600 by 600 pixel high-res full-color display, built-in right lens, 6 mic array, 12 megapixel camera with 3 times zoom, up to 6 hours of continuous mixed-use battery life. They said 8 originally, but it's 6 of mixed use, and per charge, and it's around 30 total hours of battery life with a fully charged case. So you have to go back and forth a few times. So a private display integrated into the right lens of the glasses appears when you need it and hides when you don't. This is kind of more like the Star Trek. Are these really worth $800? I don't know. I'm still a little bit disappointed with the glasses I spent quite a bit of money on that I use once in a while, but they're just not as good as they said. So I don't really know. I'm going to wait a little while before I get these glasses because I'm not convinced that they're probably going to be the end. I think there might be something else. And guys, number 9, China supposedly approves the TikTok deal. Trump declares that China has green-lighted TikTok's continued U.S. presence. ByteDance moves toward American control, but some tough security and ownership questions are remaining unresolved. So what's happening? I don't think anybody really knows, when will TikTok sell to U.S.? Trump signs the order declaring TikTok sale is ready and valuing it, right? ByteDance would hold less than 20% in TikTok US to comply with the requirements set out in the 2020-24 law, but they're still going to have some control on it. I don't know if I like that, guys. I really don't know if I like that. So we're going to have to see what's going on. President Donald Trump just yesterday, which was September 25th, he actually signed an executive order approving a proposal that would keep TikTok alive in the United States in a transaction that Vice President J.D. Vance said values the business at $14 billion. The deal satisfies the requirement of a national security law requiring China-based ByteDance to sell TikTok's U.S. operations or face an executive ban in the country, according to the executive order. Under the terms which China must still approve, a new joint venture company will oversee TikTok's U.S. business, with ByteDance retaining less than 20% stake. Why are they getting to keep any of it? Enterprise tech giant Oracle, Silver Lake, and the Abu Dhabi-based MGX investment fund will be main investors in TikTok's U.S. business, controlling a roughly 45% stake in the entity, while ByteDance investors and new holders will hold 35%. And CNBC's David Farber is definitely keeping us a loop on this. So no representatives from ByteDance were present at the signing. Of course, you would suspect that they wouldn't be there. And the company hasn't acknowledged that the transaction is taking place. No purchase price was mentioned, and there's no indication that the Chinese government has made changes to laws that would be necessary for a deal to take place. President Trump said the Chinese President Xi Jinping gave the deal the go-ahead. Vance said the Chinese government put up some resistance before the agreement. Under the planned agreement, Oracle will oversee the app security operations and continue providing cloud computing services for the new TikTok U.S. firm. Farber reported, citing sources familiar with the deal, that Trump said Oracle, Larry Ellison, is involved in the ownership group and that his company is playing a very big part. Quote unquote, it's owned by Americans and very sophisticated Americans. Quote, and Trump said at the signing, quote, this is going to be American operated all the way, end quote. ByteDance investors like General Atlantic, Susquehanna, and Sequoia are expected to contribute equity in the new TikTok entity, sources have told different people. And ByteDance was reportedly valued at $330 billion last month. Analysts have previously estimated TikTok's operations could be worth between $30 billion and $35 billion. The deal does not involve the federal government taking an equity stake or a so-called golden share in TikTok's U.S. operations. CNBC is definitely tracking this. And Trump said over the last weekend that conservative media ban Rupert Murdoch and his son, Lachlan Murdoch, could be involved in the TikTok deal as well as Ellison and Dell Technology CEO Michael Dell. Of course, Dell wants to get his hand in everything. The president last week signed an executive order that extended ByteDance's deadline time to divest TikTok's U.S. operations or be subject to a national security law originally signed by former President Joe Biden. The order prevents the Department of Justice from enforcing the national security law until December 16th. Okay, so now we've got more time, but I got to be honest with you. I don't really believe that means anything because Trump just keeps changing things, right? And if he keeps changing things, like how do we even know that it's even going to stand? I don't believe it. Number 10, guys, Capital One. Yes, not what's in your wallet this time. It's what's coming out of theirs. Settles with creators over affiliate earnings. Social creators force Capital One to settle millions in lost affiliate commissions due to their shopping browser extension, highlighting the tension between big tech and influencer fair pay. Now, they've been saying that this whole thing is around for a while, but what I didn't realize is that they weren't playing fair 100% of the time. So that extension might be going away. Not sure yet, but we'll have to see. Is the Capital One browser extension going away? And I think right now it's not going away. It's currently available for browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and Safari. That's why they're paying this money, right? All about fair pay. Number 11, Amazon broke the law on Prime signups. Yes, they did. A federal judge recently ruled that Amazon violated consumer protection during Prime signups, collecting payment info before full disclosure and making cancellations very hard. We've seen this before with other companies where you get roped into some monkey trench and you can't get out. You can't even cancel. There were some sites on the internet, you can't even cancel until you schedule an appointment. Like, what kind of nonsense is that? I mean, the Trade Commission is now starting to really get to the bottom of it, but it's a scam. I mean, the fact that you sign up so quickly and you can't unsign up, I mean, that's just nonsense. So the FTC is now heading to trial with them and putting Amazon on defense again. Number 12, guys, Heathrow and Brussels become paralyzed recently by a cyber attack. A cyber attack on the airport check-in systems brought chaos to Heathrow and Brussels as flights delayed and lines grew very long. Experts warned about the rising ransomware risks and how fragile our travel ecosystem has become. Now, I want to say something very interesting. And this is a really interesting question. This is my question, why is Staples now selling Clear and luggage? Like, why? So Staples has partnered with Clear, a TSA pre-check enrollment provider, to offer enrollment and renewal services at hundreds of its retail locations. The Clear you are referring to is not luggage, but rather the name of the company Clear. So I want to make sure you understand that. So luggage is just another piece they're doing that Staples is doing that. Staples Travel Hub now. So the partnership allows Clear to expand its in-person enrollment footprint beyond airports, making it more convenient for people to enroll or renew their TSA pre-check membership. Convenience for customers for Staples hosting Clear services adds a new travel-related offering to its stores, complementing other services and attracting more customers. Increasing access to the TSA PreCheck. The move is part of Clear's effort to increase national access to TSA PreCheck enrollment, especially for those who don't visit an airport frequently. This partnership brings TSA PreCheck enrollment and renewal to more than 190 Staples stores across the United States, with plans for continued expansion. So, the question you might be asking is, why are so many Staples stores closing? Staples isn't entirely closing, but it is shutting down individual stores as part of an ongoing strategy to adapt to changing retail landscapes. This includes closing underperforming stores, especially since the company was acquired by a private equity firm that has a limited long-term interest in retail. Factors contributing to these closures are increasing competition from online retailers like Amazon, outdated pricing models, high operational costs, and shifting consumer demand away from traditional office supplies. So who did buy Staples? Um, Again, it's a private equity firm called Sycamore Partners. They actually bought Staples, it was kind of under the radar, in 2017 for $6.9 billion. After the acquisition, Sycamore restructured the company into three separate entities: the B2B delivery unit, the U.S. retail location, and Staples Canada. So, who is Sycamore Partners? Again, the deal was consecrated in September of 2017. Sycamore acquired Staples for $6.9 billion, with a $1.6 billion funded by equity and the rest by debt. The acquisition was a rare bet by a private equity firm in the United States retail sector at the time, which was facing challenges from online shopping. Sycamore saw potential in Staples' delivery business. So this is interesting that they're getting involved with this. Number 13, guys, the White House unveils the TikTok deal now. So the White House's breakthrough on the TikTok plan hands the algorithm and board control to U.S. firms. Oracle is leading the data privacy as China remains silent and has no room to stand or say anything. Will the deal resolve the security standoffs or spark new controversy? That's a question we're going to have to wait and see what happens. And number 14, guys, hospital IT outage halts 1,600 appointments. Major IT failure across Northern Ireland's Southern Trust hospitals and postpones $1,600 of health appointments. And no cyber attack was reported, but the disruptions added urgency to reliable tech in healthcare. Guys, that's like insane. All right. Really, really insane. So I want to share a little bit about the iPhone. Okay. So the iPhone 17 Pro Max is very interesting. You know what had happened, and I think I think the interesting thing is that when we can think about having the iPhone, everything's going through. I was not happy in a couple things. So this isn't a formal review, but I want to give you some of my feedback. So the iPhone 17 Pro Max has a lower telephoto than the 16 Pro Max. Yeah. First of all, they were saying that it has a better telephoto camera than the 16 Pro. Features a 48 megapixel telephoto lens compared to the 12 megapixel telephoto on the 16. It allows for higher quality zoom, but the question comes, is the 17 Pro's camera less than the 16? So they're saying it's not a downgrade, but it's how the phone has been designed to give you greater pictures. All right. I mean, I don't know if I buy that. So a couple things I wanted to talk about. So when I got the iPhone, all right, what I want to share with you is that this iPhone, well, let's just say I've done many upgrades, probably over 9 or 10 iPhone upgrades. And I had upgraded my previous iPhone 16 Pro Max, of course, backed it up, but I upgraded it to the 18.2, and then I went to the 26.0 and wanted to be ready for the iPhone 17 Pro Max. So when I got the phone, did the normal stuff like I normally would do. And so when I went to do the transfer, the upgrade, you can basically hold it to the other, and you can put the basically show the code from the one screen to the other phone so it knows that that's the phone. And then what happens, which is interesting, this is what's interesting. After I did what I had to do, I've got to tell you that it's interesting because the phone did not go ahead and continue to transfer my files. After it upgraded to the 26.0, it's like it completely forgot about taking my settings over. Now, many people be like, oh, this is cool, right? But no, it didn't remember. Now I had to go back and start the upgrade process all over again. That might have confused somebody. I knew right away because my main home screen was not changed. So that was a big, big difference. And so I had to go do that. The upgrade of transferring about 500 and some gigabytes took less than 12 minutes, maybe 11 and a half minutes. And so now this is all done. Now it gets better. Microsoft has decided that they weren't going to just make the transfer of the two-factor authentications as easy as it was in the past. Had to do some extra steps so I could get my 65 two-factor authentication keys onto my new phone because I was not going to do that by hand. And so what else can I tell you? So the phone, I've had the phone obviously since what was it last? When did the phone came out? I remember now. The phone actually came out on the. It actually came out. Was it the 20? Was it the? Yeah, it was actually the 19th. I got it. So I've had the phone now a full week, and I have to say the battery life has been okay. I've taken some pictures. The video has been good. Haven't had any issues there. It has a new intelligence feature where you can use the camera. And so when you pull the camera up and you try to like do something with the camera, you can literally have the camera, okay, have you use an intelligence sense to let you know what that is, which I think is pretty cool. But here's something I think that's really, really cool. So you all know about how you can set different modes, right? How you can have different, we call them focuses. Like, for example, you can have a focus for do not disturb. You can have a focus for personal. You're a focus for reducing interruptions. You can have a focus for schools. So for me, I actually have a focus for school, and it turns on automatically. Now, this was a bug that did not work properly in everything prior to, at least I tried 26. They might have fixed it in 19.2, but it seemed to work in 26. So that's when I noticed it was working. So whenever I go to Montclair State University, it automatically, I have it set to change my screen, background screen, so I know right away that it's me, the lock screen. And it has a little icon, which in my case, the icon that I chose was a basically looks like a it's like a almost like a government school. It has like a triangle and 4 pillars and then something below it. And so what I want to tell you is it actually works now, not just once, not just twice. It kicks in immediately. So that's one good thing that I like about the 26.0 OS. And I believe it was fixed in the OS. I don't think it was fixed in the phone. I think it was fixed in the iOS. So what are some other little challenges? So the other thing is that Apple no longer lets you keep the phone unlocked for downloading app purchase. You have to put your password in. Not crazy about that. So real quickly, what is new in 26.0? A bullet list. So there's a few things. All right. If we had to just kind of go through them quickly. Liquid glass is my favorite. The new design provides this fluid, transparent look, and it's transparent across the lock screen, the home screen, the apps, and it makes the interface more immersive and kind of a little more fun to play with. So you have the dynamic lock screen. The lock screen now dynamically resizes and repositions itself to avoid obscuring the subject in your wallpaper photo. A new 3D effect makes wallpaper photos appear to pop out when you move your iPhone. Customizable app icons. User can now choose from various updated styles for their app icons, including light, dark, color, tinted, or a new clear or glass-like appearance. You have a refreshed control center. The control center has been redesigned with the new liquid glass. And it's pretty cool. I have to tell you that it's pretty cool. They added something else, which is called the Apple Intelligence AI features. They added some things about that to make this a little more, let's say, with the new changes and things that are happening in AI. So one thing is Apple Intelligence. So visual intelligence, the feature allows you to search, ask questions, or take action on anything visible on your phone. You have Genmoji and Image Playground. You can create custom emojis from text descriptions or existing emoji combinations. Live translation. This offers real-time translation for conversations in phone and FaceTime calls, as well as text and messages. Smart reminders. The Reminder app can now suggest tasks and automatically categorize list items based on texts from emails and other apps. You have a neat call screening app that's kind of built in. Screening incoming calls from unknown numbers to get information about who is calling and why before you decide to answer. Hold Assist, I love this. The feature will wait on hold for you during a phone call and notify you when a live agent joins the line. That's cool. Unified phone app layout. The phone app now provides a single screen to access your contacts, your recent, and your voicemail. So when I go into my one view right now, which I can very easily do, I can see what I've got, my keypad. So, they made this, how can I say, they made it a little smarter now. So you can just go into what you need. So basically, you go to the top of the screen and you have to pick down calls missed. You can go to voicemail of the screen. So instead of you having to choose the option at the bottom, now you go to the top right. I'm not really crazy about that feature, to be honest. Message enhancements. New features include the ability to create polls and add custom backgrounds to conversations and filter messages from unknown senders. I really like that option. Adaptive power, an energy-saving mode for periods of heavy usage that make subtle adjustments to preserve battery power life without completely limiting the background experience. And I think that's an important thing for everybody to understand. The AirPods update uses AirPods or AirPods Pro with the H2 chip to capture high-quality audio for video calls, or as a remote to start recording in, let's say, the camera app. Preview app, a new built-in app for scanning documents, filling out PDFs, and annotating text. If you remember, we couldn't open PDFs on the iPhone. Now we can without having to buy a PDF app. Apple Music includes new features like lyric translation, pronunciation, expandability, accessibility. New options are available for users who rely on Braille and features to help reduce motion sickness. That's pretty cool. How about using your camera, pointing and getting AI to answer? So this is kind of cool. You can use your camera to get AI answers by using a visual search app like Google Lens, a feature within Google's main app. And this technology is a form of visual question answering, VQA they call it, which combines computer vision and natural vision. So I think they've made some great changes with the app. So what is bad in iOS 26? So it has a couple drawbacks. So the major drawback, some people don't like liquid glass. One of the things I have to tell you that I'm really unhappy with. So after I had updated my phone, I had like 10,000 emails. Okay. And so let's say that I wanted to just go in and select all. Well, there is no select all option anymore. Like, hello, Apple. They got rid of that. It's in certain things, but it's not when you go into your general mail and you try to select. So what I had to do is touch the one, and then just keeps thumbing down. And then what I noticed is the back of my phone got really hot, almost hot. It would almost burn my hand. Not quite, but pretty hot. And so they forgot that option. So I hope, Apple, that you will go ahead and add the select all button, because that was just really, really, really bad. Many users report initial issues like faster battery drain. I haven't had those issues. As long as you're up to date, you're fine with those things. Lagging and freezing, I haven't had anything like that. But I have to tell you, some people had issues with blurriness. I didn't have that issue at all. You have the feature, which you probably have known before. If I type something and I shake it, it'll actually undo what I just did. So that's a pretty cool thing, guys. But, if we had to say what are the game changers for, for this? And I have to tell you, iOS 26 best features. Um, I like the liquid glass. I like the extensive lock. Um, I like you can hold on the phone and it notifies you. I like that. So that's definitely pretty cool. Liquid glass is not just an experience; it actually makes using the phone more fun. In some ways, it can actually help you to navigate things easier. So, also you have the summary feature in iOS 26. And what is the summary feature? So, you can have a notification summary feature using Apple's intelligence to provide concise summaries of multiple notifications with expanded functionality in iOS 26. Instead of having multiple messages on the same, it can consolidate them down and then put a number on it to make things easier. So I do think it's better in a lot of ways, but I want to tell you that I think it needs some help. They did add some ability to how to access the camera a little bit different. They did some other stuff that they made some access options available in CarPlay. So that was nice. I'm not a CarPlay user, so that really didn't matter to me. The visual intelligence is kind of neat. So you can add an event from a flyer on your iPhone screen to your calendar with a single tap, like an invite for a neighborhood event. Details like event title, name, etc. You can interact with text. You can summarize the translate or read text out loud. Shortcuts are better now. But again, I think the unknown caller feature is neat. I think the hold assist is neat. The screening is definitely neat. But if I had to say the big game changer for me, the feature that I like the most on the iPhone 26, I have to say I like the ability that you can hold, and I also like the ability that if I'm on the phone with somebody and I need to record the call, I can just touch the option and record, and then I can translate that if I needed to. So, those are pretty cool features. So right now I am on the 26.0. I'm waiting, guys, for, this to be at the next version because I think there's definitely some issues that they need to fix. And I know this is definitely a problem. And I know Apple was very, how can I say, zealous about trying to get this stuff out. I never go for the beta updates, guys. I just don't trust them. Um, it's nice that there are not a lot of updates right now because I think Apple would probably be going crazy if there were. So the software update that I have right now is 26.0. And you might be asking, and this is a great question, when is the next iOS coming out? Well, the next iOS that we're probably going to see isn't going to be for a little while. Okay. I think iOS 27 is not officially announced yet, but rumors suggest it'll be released in the second half of 2026. So how about like 26.1? So they're saying that 26.1 will be released in late October. They have some betas out, but I don't dare want to try that. And there are going to be several more beta versions before the final release, which is expected to follow, like X.1, etc. So I think they rushed this because they wanted to get everything ready for the new iPhone. I think that was the whole reason that they absolutely did this. And I got to say, the upgrade process, if I had to give it a score on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it a -5. That's how annoying it was. Oh, not only that, guys, when I went to finish that whole process, right? And because I use a Mac encrypted network, I had to go in and enable that device to be able to get out to the internet. That was no big deal. But In addition to that, I then chose the option activate the phone. It did not activate the phone. I had to call into Verizon. Now, they were closed at 9 o'clock at night. So I had to go through the plethora of prompts, and there were quite a few, to go through and actually activate my phone. It asked me to put my mobile phone number in. And then after that, it sent a code. I had to validate the code, and then the phone was active pretty much. But, I think that's terrible. Now, I talked to Verizon, and they said that they don't do that all the time. But yet I know 2 or 3 clients that had the same issue. So I don't know. And the people at the stores of Verizon, now they don't really know. But Verizon had this issue. I don't know if any other carriers had this issue, but the phone used to just activate. And then you had to power the phone off, turn it back on, and then it worked. But so I just found it to be, I got to be honest, guys, I found it to be a hassle, like a very, very big, I think when we look at technology and we figure out, what's happening, I think we have to understand that we can't just push features out there. If I want 1,000 features, and let's say we can only get 500 working properly, then we only should release 500 features, right? We should release what works properly. I think a lot of people push to release things because they feel that if they're released, they can sell more. But you know what happens? People get more upset because the technology not only doesn't work the way it's supposed to, it works worse than what it was supposed to. The fact that I cannot go into my thing and I can get something, I think that is just, I think that's just, that's crazy. Um, it's nuts how all this is happening. And I think a lot of times people just get into a stuck state of, where we need to be. But when we push things out a certain way, I think, and then something doesn't work, like the fact that a select all button doesn't work. And when I get into my email right now, if I select an email, if I go to my email account and I click on something, okay, and I just click select, there is no select all button. And when you touch the one that you want, okay, and then you keep scroll, it actually makes the phone hotter because that's a pretty big, let's say, task that you're doing. By having the phone scroll, you're actually having the phone having to do quite a bit of math calculations because it has to redisplay and gather data. So it has to erase the data and redisplay the data. And let's face it, that does warm things up a little bit. I know, ladies and gentlemen, that this phone, from what I can see and using the phone, it seems to be very viable. Okay. It seems to be something that is going to be much better. So far, the call quality has been better. Wi-Fi usage. So the Wi-Fi on it has been, pretty good. I can't say anything bad about the Wi-Fi usage. I mean, I have Wi-Fi 7 at home, so that's a pretty fast speed. So the warranty they give you, basically, the limited warranty is basically about 1 year from when you got the phone. Um, you know, I think the other thing I want to say is that when these carriers say you're getting a free phone, you're really not getting a free phone, okay? When any of these carriers, I don't care if it's Verizon or whoever it is, or T-Mobile, whatever, when they say you are getting a free phone, you are not. It's just a credit on the account. So, yeah, it means you're receiving a monthly credit on your account that offsets the phone's price over time. Typically, you're required to sign up for a multi-year contract and one of the higher pricing plans. Like on the Verizon, it's the unlimited. And full cost of the phone is divided up and credited back each billing cycle. If you stay compliant with the plan's terms, If you cancel early, you often are responsible for the remaining balance. So the free phone is really just a payment offset, not an outright giveaway. So I think that's an interesting thing to understand. And the other thing I wanted to explain with this phone, which I think is something that a lot of people miss, is that when you get this phone, like, so Verizon does not give you a free phone every year. They used to, they don't anymore. You get it every 2 years. So if I want to get a phone every year, I have to pay off the rest of my phone. So I paid off 50%. I have to pay off the other 50% before I can actually go through and get the phone. So I know that sounds crazy, but let's say a phone costs $35. So 35 times 12 comes out to be four something, right? So you do 420 times 2, and you're basically at an $840 phone. So what they're requiring you to pay, it's almost what you paid for, maybe a little bit less. But I had to pay like 200 some dollars, and then I had to pay the taxes, then I had to pay an activation thing of $4. Like, I think that was nonsense. Like, that was really crazy. And you know, guys, you can catch every angle on the J Moore Tech Talk Show by visiting believemeachieve.com. You know, whether you want to watch this while you're working out, while you're traveling, or any other time, the episodes released within 24 hours on the podcast networks. So again, this is the place to get the truth. When I have a lot of celebrities that talk to me like, hey, John, I love your shows. I said, why? Well, you don't sell anything. I said, no, I don't. I give you the truth. I have something I'm going to be doing probably next week, explaining to you about one of my laptops where it was a Lenovo laptop. And I got to tell you, the Lenovo P1 G7, terrible laptop. 1900 latencies are over in 1 minute. Crashed my audio, professional audio system. Okay, crashed my camera. Okay. And when I reached out to them, they said, well, you know, we don't support everything. I'm sorry, but streaming and video is, I mean, that's like, hello. I mean, that's like pretty standard. I was very taken back by the way Lenovo didn't even want to help me. So I went back to my distributor, and we're still working on, because I have a P16 right now, getting the new P16 G3, which will not be out until probably another 2 to 3 weeks. I know they said they could be pre-ordered soon, but they're still not out yet. So again, a lot of companies are under push. Another thing I noticed when I was talking to my distributors is we were looking at different models. And I said, you know, Lenovo and a lot of other ones, they're not giving you a lot of choices. He says, you're 100% right. And I said, why? He said, well, it's because of the tariff thing. They only want to give you models that are going to basically be the ones people buy. But I think that's a real, like, cop-out, right? Give people less choices? Really? Like, I think what we need to do is produce this technology in the United States of America and knock out all these stupid tariffs. So the question everyone's been asking me is, you know, it's a great question, is when will the tariffs hit the laptops? Well, they're not hitting the laptops directly at this point, as smartphones and laptops have been temporarily exempted from the most recent tariff hikes. However, the situation is complex and it could change. The Trump administration is reportedly considering new tariffs on foreign electronics based on the number of chips they contain, which could impact laptops in the future. Additionally, pre-existing tariffs on components likely to increase prices, a trend that some manufacturers have already started. I think where we're going to see costs changing is when we get into things like artificial intelligence. I see artificial intelligence technology as it gets more robust to be licensed. Now, you might say AI is free, and yes, but if you're going to use it at a global scale or a big, large cloud infrastructure scale, right, then you're probably going to be paying some money. The government doesn't care that you run a small little AI thing, but they do care if you have like a few million people coming to a website. They care about that. They want to get money on that. And so I think everyone, you know, right now is trying to find technology that's going to work for them today and that's going to grow. An interesting market that I'm starting to follow is the banking industry. The banking industry has been changing a lot. People have been saying is there going to only be one bank? I don't think there's going to be one bank, but I do think there's going to be less banks than we have now. We have lots of banks. If I had to guess right now, and I know this is probably a hard guess, how many different bank types, names in the world? I would say there's a lot. So there's 11 types of banks. There's 8 common types of main local banks, but because you have things like central banks, retail banks, commercial banks, investment banks, credit unions. But my question is, how many banks names are there in, let's just say, the US? How many are there? You ready, guys? There are 4,462 banks. Now, this is according to the FDIC. Now, how many with the same, how many with just the name once, not repeating? That number should be generally lower. That one, so the number of unique banks, it's lower due to many banks sharing similar repeated names, right? The FDIC listing suggests it's likely between 300 and 4,000 unique names as of 2025. The accounts for mergers and banks operating under the same brand in multiple locations. I mean, I think it's crazy that we have so many different banks. This blows me out of the water. I said to you guys before, if you're going to use technology, we want to use it for the greater good of all concerned. I don't care whether you are somebody that's just using this in your home or you're using it for some other purchase. I think it's important. I think it's really important to understand, what's happening, right? And if we can understand this, then and only then, guys, can we make a true choice, right? A true choice of doing what's the greater good for all concerned. The greater good for all concerned. That might sound like something that's crazy. But I want to tell you something. It's not crazy. This is something that day in and day out we are thinking about. And I think if we understand that it's about the greater good of all concerned. Again, the greater good. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. Please be sure to check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. We'll catch you real soon. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.